Mike Huckabee apparently has still got his hat in the race for the office of President of the United States. Um, he seems to be aligning himself with people who are just generally bad for his campaign and bad for him in general. But for some reason, he seems to be overly attached to these individuals. It's almost like he's grasping at straws for a hero in the evangelical Christian community. One of those that obviously, and this is kind of an older story, but one of those is Justin Harris and his wife. Justin Harris, for those of you who don't know, is a representative for the state representative for Arkansas. He owns a daycare that he runs along with his wife called Growing God's Kingdom. Um, Justin Harris was also the person who adopted two girls. It was originally three, but it ended up being two that he kept. Those two girls that he adopted were subject to sexual abuse and rape by a sex offender that Justin Harris chose to give these children to because they were possessed by demons, and him and his wife could not exorcise these demons from these children. And they tried everything from taking away their toys because the children believed that the demons were telling them that they didn't need to share, or the fact that they had monitored these children with video and audio and kept them locked in a bedroom just so that they wouldn't be able to be out and be around the house because of this demon possession. They went in and gave them food and water, and that was basically the only interaction that the Harrises had prior to handing these children off to this registered sex offender, known sex offender, to be raped and molested, which is preposterous and ridiculous that Mike Huckabee would even align himself with someone like this. And not only did he align himself with Justin Harris, but he used his influence along with Governor Hutchinson to continue to allow Harris to keep his seat in the House of Representatives and to stay on the committee for I believe it's for youth. Give me a second. It's aging, children, and youth. He's the vice president of on this committee, which is ridiculous that he would be able to keep his position and that no one has asked him to resign at this point. They use their power and influence to keep him in this position and keep him on this board, so to speak. The wife of Justin Harris and Justin Harris himself both had called for exorcism or called for an individual to come who traveled out all the way from Alabama to perform this exorcism while Justin Harris and his wife waited outside in their yard for this individual to attempt to exorcise the demons from this person. Now, keep this in mind and just think about this for a minute. And this is a person who is responsible for running the country. I mean, we elected Justin Harris as a representative of the state of Arkansas, and I think that speaks volumes for us and for Christians in general. I mean, this is not the type of people that we want to be in here, or apparently it is the type of person that some people want in here. The sex offender, his name is Eric Francis. He's a close friend of Justin Harris. Is now serving 40 years for child rape and child molestation. Now, I think that the one of the main questions or one of the main issues that needs to be brought up is why, as a state representative and the owner of a daycare center, why does Justin Harris have a close friend who is a known sexual predator, who is a known sex offender? That should be a red flag, and that should be something that's or an alarm that's going off in everyone's heads and in their minds. But it doesn't seem to be a big issue, because this is somebody that was put on a pedestal by Christians, evangelical Christians, and by Governor Huckabee to be a hero, so to speak. They want to have someone that they can look up to that has these strong Christian values and things, and it's ended up badly, not only for Justin Harris, but for people like Josh Duggar, and Josh Duggar is just a whole nother story. Huckabee made the statement and released a statement a few days ago that said that 18 of the Duggar children turned out pretty darn well. That pretty darn well was his statement that he made about the Duggar family. Now, these are people that covered for their son, who molested his own sisters, and who, instead of reporting him to the police or reporting him to the proper authorities, had a counseling session with him with a friend of the family who was an Arkansas state trooper, who is obviously no longer with the state police at this point, and has had an Ashley Madison account and paid multiple prostitutes and strippers and adult film actresses for rough sex and things like that, and all of this while his wife was pregnant. So this is another one of his heroes and his people that he stands behind, and he's released statements before stating that his family supports Josh Duggar, and that he was a child, or he was younger when all of this happened, and it wasn't his fault, so to speak, and those types of things. And this is a guy that wants your vote for president of the United States, and these are the people that he surrounds himself with, and he also signed off on this thing with Kim Davis, which Kim Davis was basically, her platform was that she was going to stand behind this scripture from the Bible, or this verse from the Bible, which is Leviticus 18:22, that said that thou shalt not lie with man as with women, as you do with women, for it is an abomination, and basically it states that you will be put to death. But she quotes that, or she stood behind that, but and Mike Huckabee was right there standing along beside her when this whole thing was going down. But some of the things that she forgot to mention, and that Mike Huckabee forgot to talk about, some of the scriptures that they forgot about were, and I'll just read you a few of them. One of them, 1 Corinthians, and it's verse 11, 6 through 10, for a wife will not cover her head, then she should cut her hair short if she were to cover her head. Of course, Kim Davis has long hair. Mark 18 verse 12. Mark 10 verse 12. And if she divorces her husband and marries another, she commits adultery. Now, Kim Davis has been married 4 times. So this is her cherry picking again, which verses in the Bible she wants to follow or she wants to believe in, and which ones she doesn't. Leviticus 19:19, nor shall you wear garments of cloth made of 2 different types of material, which she obviously does, which everyone does. And these are things that are not followed by people like Kim Davis, because they choose to ignore these specific verses and choose to only look at certain Bible verses. Deuteronomy 23:2 says, children begotten out of wedlock shall not enter the congregation of the Lord, or shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. And she has, I believe it's 2 or 3 children out of wedlock. So um, if Mike Huckabee is going to be taken seriously, if he wants to be taken seriously as a candidate for president of the United States, which he's attempted many times before, and it's not been successful for him, he has to surround himself with people who are going to be taken seriously and are going to be um, um, solid when it comes to things like this. And Kim Davis, Josh Duggar, and people like that are not the ones that he needs to stand behind. He needs to find himself a new hero, and he needs to um, um, do things a little differently than the way he's been doing them. And I think a major part of that is he needs to learn to keep his mouth shut when it comes to things like um, putting out criminals or convicted criminals for slavery, which is another comment that he made. So keep this in mind, and keep these types of things in mind when you go to vote for whoever you vote for president of the United States when that time comes, because these are things that if he's doing this as a former governor, if he's doing these types of things as a former governor, imagine what he could do as president, or the types of things that he would do as president. We don't need a president that surrounds himself with sex offenders and child molesters. We need a president that surrounds himself with people who are going to work for the better or the good of the country, or trying to make progress and try to make things better for everybody, and not make it about a war on Christianity or a war on people like this, because these people don't deserve anybody taking up for them, much less someone who is running for president of the United States. And that's something that, like I said, that's something everyone needs to think about. But when you go to vote, think about, do you want somebody in there that's gonna support child molesters, because that's basically what he did. He went in and he supported Justin Harris, which absolutely needs to be removed from office and prosecuted, because he abandoned these children and gave them off to, or handed them off to, a registered and known sex offender. So keep these things in mind, please. Instead of Mike Huckabee worrying about rainbow-colored Doritos potato chips, or gay people getting married, or any of those types of things, he needs to be concentrating on the serious political issues that we are facing right now as a country, and that's what's going to get him elected president. I can tell you right now, I have gay people or gay family members, and I have several gay friends, and honestly, I would leave my children with these individuals, with my gay family members, before I would leave them with Justin Harris or Josh Duggar or even Mike Huckabee. I mean, honestly, if anybody has this hey, come look in my van because I have candy or a puppy look to them, it's these individuals. It's Mike Huckabee. He's probably one of the creepiest people that I've ever seen, next to Justin Harris and Josh Duggar. And I think that who he surrounds himself with speaks volumes. You don't surround yourself with child molesters if there's not something funny going on. And I'm not gonna speculate and call him a child molester, but you have to look at that and say, okay, what's his reason for surrounding himself with these types of individuals, and why does he choose to take up for or defend these people?